All right, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Normally we have, obviously, our intro video and music, and for whatever reason, technology just does not want to cooperate right now, so we're just going to have to fight through it. I'm not going to sing to you, not going to hum you a great melody. Fortunately, it's probably be kind of the same way on the way out, where it's just kind of clunky and we jump right in, but it's what we got to do. Obviously, we're not coming to you at our normal, usual date and time either.
Weird day.
It's really the only time this week myself and Nick really have meshing work schedules together. Stuff happens. Normally, I'm not even supposed to kind of be around-ish in a way, whatever. But work happens, and we just have to be ready for anything, admittedly to a degree, but it is what it is. I'm Paul Russo. Across from me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who was back in a high school gymnasium tonight, Nick Felice. Nick, exciting day for you, I'm assuming. How you doing? How are you feeling after both me and you and Matt all had a really great time watching the Super Bowl yesterday?
I think it's a blessing in disguise that we're on today. It's a little, Monday right after the Super Bowl, so we'll be that Monday quarterback for you. And I'm still full. I am still bloated from yesterday's meal. But, good chicken wing dip, good cookies that you made from Watkins.
Handmade. Yeah.
It was a great game. No, it wasn't. It was a terrible game, but we're going to talk about it.
Less than ideal.
It was great to be back in the gym tonight. Lions was no spectators. It had that Syracuse feel to it, with the chairs all around, but it was cool.
They had a spectator.
Yep.
They had you.
And Spencer Toulis was out there shooting his pose for a few minutes. But yeah, I was there. Front row seat. It was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Good game. Not really. I keep saying good game. The Super Bowl was not a really good game, but Lions got a big win over North.
We'll discuss it to a little bit of a degree because we will be discussing hoops of all kinds as well as our Super Bowl 55 talk. Preview some NASCAR as well before we get out of here as NASCAR gets going technically tomorrow with the Busch Clash, but we'll get into that then.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Daytona 500. Well, Nick, we should have saw it coming in all fairness. But we didn't. We were idiots. I mentioned on the podcast last week, it was one of my things I was always talking about. This game was, de facto the two betting matchups that I don't enjoy going against. Never gonna bet against Mahomes, never bet against Brady in the playoffs. Well, I went with Mahomes and crashed and burned. And, well, to be fair, the Chiefs also crashed and burned. We had some vintage Brady in that first half especially. And let's just face it, Mahomes' athleticism just wasn't enough. The line just gave up pressure on over 50-something% of the plays. I can't remember the exact number. I want to say 59 or something like that, but not going to win football games that way. Also, certainly not what we were expecting probably out of that game anyway. Just a really rough game. Second half especially was really ugly. No scoring in the fourth quarter. It ended up becoming a very ugly game to watch. Kind of been a theme almost for a lot of these Super Bowls in recent years, a bit to a degree. Hopefully it's not a trend that continues on. Hopefully next year we get to whatever, but that's a different discussion. Nick, what were your initial thoughts? Because we were watching it together, and I feel like we all kind of had the same vibe going by the end of the game.
Yeah, it's just the best thing of that game was probably the halftime performance by the Weeknd.
True.
The
streaker had the best run of the game.
Yep, that was probably the most exciting parts of the game itself. I thought the Chiefs would win. I was rooting for the Bucs for some reason, just to have Brady's resume go up and Eli to still have 2 Super Bowls over him. But they absolutely dominated the game, but it's not surprising. Their team is loaded. They got the Ndamukong Suh, they got Leonard Fournette, they get Antonio Brown and Gronk on the team because they're just friends with Brady. They get, they already had Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. This team was loaded. And then, I know he's not very good anymore, but LaShawn McCoy was their third string running back behind Ronald Jones and who's their starter? Oh, Leonard Fournette. And so the team was loaded. Yeah, Brady, he got it done. But they built a great team around him. I still think, I don't know if he would have won the Super Bowl, but I think Jameis Winston would have got that team to the playoffs still because of the talent he had. But you're not going to have Gronk. You're not going to have Brown on your team if Winston was the quarterback. They're only there because of Brady. Great team. Built a great team. They deserved to win it. And it was a hell of a run. They beat Drew Brees. They beat Aaron Rodgers. Then they beat Mahomes. They were the worst winning franchise coming into the year. And they hosted the first time anyone's ever hosted a Super Bowl. So, great year for Brady. Eli and Nick Foles still smiling at home, eating some popcorn. But, Brady, he can do whatever he wants.
Gronk already at Disney World, by the way. Fun fact.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Today's the day they go. Gronk went to Disney World?
Gronk's already at Disney World, apparently.
With Brady.
I don't know if Brady went. I know Gronk's there.
I just feel like the Super Bowl MVP usually goes, doesn't he? But
they asked both him and Gronk in the commercial, so I don't know.
Yeah. The offensive line was hurting for the Chiefs. Definitely hurt them.
Yeah, they had certain former New York Giant linemen out there. Reamers.
That definitely hurt him, but man, Mahomes looked like he wasn't anything out there. The first time Mahomes ever looked really bad. And, I think it's always good. You can never learn unless you fail. And this will be great for Mahomes' career. He's got the league. He's got the team to get back to the Super Bowl. I know the AFC's up and coming, but I still think the Chiefs will definitely be looked at as a favorite to go back to the Super Bowl. You can't ever guarantee go back to the Super Bowl, obviously, but they definitely have the team to do it, and he's definitely going to learn from it. And it really makes you wonder how good this Bucs team will be next year. This team could be really good. They could get back to the Super Bowl too. But my opinion, I think the NFC is so much tougher around that it's going to be tough for them to do it. But it should be interesting. It was not a great game, but hats off to Bruce Arians and the Bucs.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously, I know the Chiefs are the early favorites in Vegas for next year. Then the Packers and then the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are going to have to play free agency game a little bit, but I don't see that being a problem. I think if you lose anybody, you can bring somebody of equal or better value and probably personnel overall wise then. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the AFC. I still think it's probably going to be a bit of a steeper climb in the NFC than the AFC going forward in a weird way. But, the line for the Chiefs obviously was hurt, but I think you're going to have to probably upgrade it to a degree in the offseason. Even when healthy, they were a pretty middle-of-the-road offensive line. The Buccaneers line by far ended up becoming the best line all year. We haven't mentioned it yet, but it's obviously making the round obviously on social media and such. But Ali Marpet, class of 2015 from Hobart in Geneva, got the hold of the Lombardi Trophy. So
that was supposed nice. To be my shout out later, ball. And now I gotta pick a new one.
Did not know that. You can still keep it a shout out. I mean, how the hell was anybody gonna know until you just said that?
Yeah, maybe I'll use it. Stay tuned.
I mean, you're the one who ruined it, not me.
Shout out, Allie.
But yeah, just it's funny you mentioned like some of the pieces with the Buccaneers. The people offensively who scored the touchdowns for them, guys who weren't on the team last year, guys who all came in after Brady signed, Gronk, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette. Although Fournette was technically Fournette was a signing. So, I mean, it's crazy when you think about it in that sense. So, and the kicker too. Suckup wasn't there. Suckup was a mid-season signing technically.
Good for him.
For the Buccaneers. So, always been a Suckup fan.
He's a Suckup.
I mean, he's no Sean Sweeson, but a lot of pettiness too in this game. It was really weird. Normally the Super Bowl, you don't get the chippiness and the pettiness that you usually get that we got yesterday. But
Yeah.
it was like that part of the game was a nice little change of pace. Obviously, you had the stuff between Honey Badger and Matthew and Brady. Not too sure what was said, but apparently something was said between Brady and Tyrone that he didn't take too kindly, which is why he was upset. And obviously stuff with Winfield and Tyreek Hill.
Might deal with frustration too.
Yeah, but I thought the Winfield one was hilarious because that's what Tyreek did to him in week 12 or something like that, and I thought it was pretty funny. But I mean, I kind of like that aspect of sport. I think we need a little bit more of that to spice it up to a point. So I'm always for that. I'm always for that type of stuff. You know, I guess kind of looking forward now. You know, nothing big NFL wise until mid-March when the new year comes. For the NFL, free agent signing. Already have one trade going down. Apparently we're about to have a Carson Wentz trade happen sometime this week. And then you have all the stuff going on with Deshaun Watson, so it's going to be an interesting offseason. Then the draft coming up as well in April, end of April, beginning of May. So it's going to be interesting. Any offseason predictions you want to make quick before we move on? Because, I mean, there's not a ton more to discuss about the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Off-season? It's going to be a huge draft, I think.
Huge draft.
Yeah, I think it's going to be obviously you know what the Jaguars are going to do. They're going to take Trevor Lawrence. Just go with the obvious pick. You'd like to think.
Give me a hot take prediction for the offseason.
Hot take prediction. I think hot take prediction. Oh, man, I'm going to go with hot take prediction. The New England Patriots will select a quarterback.
Okay. The Washington football team, if they are unable to get Deshaun Watson in a trade, will sign Dakota Rain Prescott.
Really?
Yep.
Who's that?
Dak Prescott.
Oh, okay. I didn't know his name was Dakota. I thought it was Dak.
I mean,
first 3 years I thought it was Zach.
That made me now think of a Gridiron Heights thing with Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
Zach attack, y'all.
You know,
that was an extremely niche joke I made.
it could be an inside joke to some if they never see the show, but that's Washington might take a quarterback too.
I hope we don't. I don't want us to draft a quarterback.
Dude,
in a weird
does
way.
Devonta Smith go too?
Yes.
I think he should.
I think the Jets do take a wide out. I think I don't think Darnold. I mean, we kind of had this discussion before, but I don't think Darnold was the problem in New York at all.
I don't think he is either. I still like him.
Yeah.
I think Josh Rosen deserves another chance, but he's not.
To quote a really great radio producer, he's got the goods, dude.
Who?
He's got the goods, dude.
Who? Who said
Darnold?
That?
Darnold's got the goods, dude.
Who said this?
Oh, Mike Ryan from Levitard Show.
Oh. Yeah?
But you said that about Baker Mayfield, but I'm using it here for Sam because they both got the goods, dude.
No, I think it's going to be a huge year for the Browns and the Bills. Great year they had this year. Let's see if they can.
Speaking of a team that might need a bolster offensive line, the Buffalo Bills. Looking at you.
And they will. They're going to improve that team. They got pieces to that team that's awesome right now. They're going to improve that team any way they can. Just don't know if they'll beat the Chiefs.
No. They might not beat the Dolphins next year for their division.
They might not beat the Patriots. You got to remember
They might not beat the Jets.
Now that's a hot take.
Yeah.
But Devonta Smith could be a game changer. The Patriots, though.
All it takes is one. The part about the Jets that's funny is before we officially move on from football, because now we really are just down a rabbit hole. Do you know the Jets had like a top 5 which efficiency ranking for the first drive of offense this year?
Yeah, they were like a lot of games they scored the first drive.
Yeah. And then after that, they were just, dog awful. Awful.
Yeah. Especially the last play of the game.
Is Joe Flacco elite?
Joe Flacco is elite because
Nope.
he is the AFC Eli Manning.
No. God, no. All right, Nick. We're going to talk some basketball. It's been a couple weeks since we talked anything, really, in the hoops realm. Where do you want to start? You want to go NBA, NCAA?
I thought we
high
talked
school?
Euro League, but, you know.
Where do you want to start? NBA, NCAA, or Wayne Finger Lakes?
We'll start from the bottom. Wayne Finger Lakes.
All right. I thought you were going to say the NCAA the way it's been this year, but
Nope.
high school basketball officially tipped off today, like we alluded to earlier. Like Nick said, he was actually at a game covering it already. Lions and North Rose Wolcott on the boys' side. By the way, before we get too far into this, and we'll mention it at the end of the show, we here at Fair Lakes are doing something pretty cool, in my opinion, this year. Instead of giving you traditional game coverage, like we usually do, where me and Nick may be at Newark covering, say, Wayne at Newark or something like that, Jim Sarkropi is hosting Finger Lakes 1. I have a trip over Fingers1.com game night, which is a red zone style deal. You can find it on Facebook and Twitch. 4 nights a week he's targeting to do. It's pretty cool. Tuned in tonight to watch the second half of the action from around the Wayne Finger Lakes. Got to see Nick a little bit. Popped up there at the end of that Lions game trying to get some interviews. And but it's really cool. Jim's doing a really great job with that. And it's something different. Thankfully, sponsors over on that end stepped up in a big way to do it this year. And it's something different. I mean, if you're an NFL fan and you like Red Zone, and you happen to also be a Wayne Finger Lakes High School fan for basketball, this is it. Nick or Jim, because I looked at Nick over there. Jim has a really cool setup. Got double screen action tonight. I, for one, can't wait until he is able to get the octo screen.
Got to get the Octo box.
I really want there to be a witching hour like we have in the NFL. I don't know how you do it with high school basketball, but there has to be like a witching hour. I think maybe it'd be like a witching 15 minutes, but
That's about what a quarter takes, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. So obviously we'll talk. We'll remind you guys again of it. But that's where this year, if you want live game action, to check us out at, and then we'll have write-ups on fairlakes1.com at the end of each night for games around the league.
Yeah, I was excited.
Anyway, getting into whatever. Obviously, first slate of games happened today. I think there was like only about 7 or 8 combined between boys and girls or something like that. I think I have maybe the exact number wrong. But teams getting in action. Nick, you brought up an excellent point that I think we kind of forgot about when we first initially talked about high school sports coming back. Teams struggling to maybe get some numbers. Even this year, you mentioned North Rose only had, 6 players available tonight on the boys' side. Because people just didn't want to come out this year for whether, safety reasons or whatever. So it's going to be interesting. So that way you kind of have the first night under the belt here. And you've kind of seen some games obviously be played. It's certainly a different dynamic. Do you think, I think it might vary depending upon team by team to a bit of a degree, in my opinion. But what's your opinion of like these gyms effectively having pretty much 0 to maybe 30 people, give or take, in the stands? I mean, it's different, obviously. So, what are your thoughts kind of on that? Like, how do you think it will affect the players at the high school level?
Well, yeah, first of all, Jim's doing a great job. Did catch a little bit of the show before this show of him pulling his inner Scott Hansen on game night, but he's doing a good job. We got to get that octo box, but I
don't think Jim goes to the bathroom at all this year. I'm calling it. He starts his own Scott Hansen run.
It's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It's not the point.
He can make it. Scott Hansen does 7, 8. It's a little different, but
not the point.
It's going to be interesting. There's a couple places that are allowing fans, minors in particular, only home fans, two people per player. So it'll be interesting. There are going to be some people there. But, I saw soccer. So I did a little soccer, and there was, not the biggest crowds in the world.
Yeah, but soccer's like inherently open, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Basketball, you have that close confinement.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, especially going to like a Clyde Lions game where it's like packed, and then not going to be packed. Probably not going to be anybody in there, but, Lions at the Atwood, they do I think I said this at the beginning of the show, but I'll say it again. They do like a Syracuse where atmosphere with the chairs all around the gym. So, everyone's 6 feet apart, but it's definitely quiet, especially at halftime when the team's going. At least they have like the music playing, warm up and stuff. But when the team's going into halftime at the locker room, oh my God, I feel like the game's over. That type of feel where it's so quiet in the gym at halftime. But, it was interesting. Got to go to a game. At least I'm still in the gym, watching the game. North Rose definitely going to hurt. Only have 6 players. They definitely get tired in that second half. They showed in the first game.
Now, I'm willing to bet that there probably aren't going to be the only team locally that has that problem either.
Yeah, probably not. But, Lions is definitely still the Wayne County favorite, so they're good still. And so it's going to be exciting to watch, I think, play out. It's going to be quick. It's only 4 weeks.
Yeah. 4 weeks, pretty much playing 3 games a week.
Yeah, any type of breakout, though, it's going to really hurt your season. Should be fun.
I think another part, and Jim kind of brought it up in the broadcast earlier, that we forgot about because of all the COVID stuff, is we are about to, we're currently in the midst of at least the cold portion of it. But if we get a bad couple of days of weather, that also throws a pretty big wrench into the season.
Yes, it does.
So, it obviously around here, you look at last week with the nor'easter, especially around here, we ended up getting more than anticipated by a solid 3 to 5 inches, pretty much. And that does a lot. That really does actually do a lot travel-wise that people kind of forget about. So that's something to also keep an eye on.
Yeah, it would be interesting because that could definitely affect games. Mm-hmm. COVID could affect games. Any type of weight could affect games. Especially if you're like a team like North Rose has 6 players, you lose just 2 people, and you're gone.
I know tomorrow, a little bit of a preview for one of the games tomorrow. Big game tomorrow on the girls' side, Palmac and Waterloo.
Yes.
Pretty big game on that front.
I will be there.
How about that?
Palmac at Waterloo. Palmac, we'll see how they look this year. Lost a couple key players. Waterloo probably going to finally get that revenge over them. They lost 3 times to them last year. So
you never know, though.
0-3.
Yeah.
What's the Waterloo gym called? They got a nickname like the Bomber Barn?
The SPO Center?
The SPO Center, I think it is, yeah.
I think it's not the official name of it.
But, I like the Bomber Barn. That's my favorite.
But, no, you got an early runner for, at least on the girls' side, possible game of the year.
Yeah, it could be.
Right off the bat, pretty much. So,
this
it'll be
is the thing with this
interesting
type of schedule, though.
Yeah.
8
well,
games.
It's only league.
It's only league.
Yeah.
You're going to see great games every single week.
Practically every single day in theory.
Yeah, like Clyde Savannah Lions is on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Not going to be able to get to that one, but we're going to try to get to the second one. And then Geneva Newark's on Thursday, so that's another great game. And then that's all I have for great games. But there's other games in my mind, but that's a great game. It's just going to keep going. Then you're going to have Wayne Geneva as well. That's going to be another big game. So.
Let's keep, climbing up the rung then. NCAA basketball action. Been an interesting year to say the least. I still think Gonzaga's probably for real this year. Other than that, your Power 5 conferences have just been one giant freaking conference of suck. It's wild. You have the 13 most winningest programs in NCAA history are all unranked right now. Think about that for a quick second, right? The top 13 are all unranked.
That's crazy.
Kansas is unranked for the first time since, I can't remember the exact year, but you have to go back a bit.
It was a while.
Yeah. This is the first time since the 60s that UNC and Duke have both been unranked at the same time. It's crazy. It's pretty nuts. Down year for a lot of these big programs. And the thing that I'm realizing about this is I don't think this is COVID at all at this point. I think with some of these teams, if you're good enough, I thought for sure you'd think UNC would be able to fight out of it at this point. Certainly I thought Kentucky would be able to fight out of it at this point. It's crazy. It really is. The blue bloods that you expect to be good are just not this year. And this might be another year of a mid-major breakout and making another deep run into a tournament. Of course, they're mid-major by de facto now. I struggle calling Villanova a mid-major team. Personally, I struggle calling Gonzaga a mid-major at this point as well, but by conference, that's what they get. So, and then you also look at it like Creighton is pretty much a real deal team so far. If you look at it from a betting side, the Drake Bulldogs, also in the Big East, they are, I believe they're 18-2 against the spread now this year. So obviously they're pretty good. I don't know what they're going to be like when they get to Creighton or anyone like that again, but they're certainly a team to keep an eye on, probably more than likely. How about this for a little bit locally? St. Bonaventure's not that bad. They've been keeping all their opponents to pretty much an arm's length or within an arm's length in the A10 so far this year. Syracuse has been on a roller coaster every other week. So I think
how you went locally. You said St. Bonaventure
that's right.
For Syracuse.
Big brain, not just a hat rack up top up here, I tell you. I think, Syracuse has been each week has been a roller coaster. Last week was a low, so hopefully this week's a peak. Sidibe is back, which is good, so who knows on that front.
That's exactly what Syracuse is. Who knows?
Yeah. Might be back on the Boeheim to get rid of Boeheim bandwagon again.
Really?
Look. The 2-3 zone is meant to force teams to shoot the ball. In all fairness, that's what a 2-3 zone is. The only problem is now that you have people. The game has evolved to the point where people don't have a problem with hucking up threes, obviously. So and naturally, people have gotten better at shooting threes. So it's almost, I wouldn't say it's rendered the 2-3 useless, but now the 2-3 has so pushed up that it's caused problems everywhere else covering space. I think if you run a zone now, I think you got to run a 3-2 where you have more people up top, or stationed up top, rather. I mean, either that or run a 1-3-1 full court zone. I think that may work out well for Syracuse for a little bit. I mean, I'd like to see them run more full court stuff anyway, but I mean, that's a fight we've been fighting for about 5 years now. So either way, we watched a little bit of college stuff over the weekend together, Nick. First time we've done that in a while. It's really is an interesting year in college hoops. I don't remember anything quite like this year.
Yeah, it's weird,
And like I said, this is pandemic aside. Like, this is a really weird year. Like,
yeah. It's been almost 2 years since we've seen a tournament in college basketball now, and Syracuse is right there. They're gonna have to win a few more games to prove themselves, but college basketball is down. ACC's down. They're all down, besides literally 2 teams. Give or take, up to about 10 teams that are good still, but it is Gonzaga and it is Baylor who are the top 2 teams in this league, and they've proven every test and they've passed every test. But put Baylor aside, and I'll say this is the year of Gonzaga. If they don't win it this year, I don't know if they'll ever will, because they're loaded this year. The competition's down. You're not seeing the same teams up there. Gonzaga's had the experience. I know it's different players from year to year, but Mark Few's teams have had the experience. Mm-hmm. These other teams have not had the experience of an Elite Eight, of a Final Four, per se. Iowa's made some runs, not too great. Neither is Baylor, but Iowa's good. The Big Ten's got some good teams. Like Illinois is good. Ohio State's good. They're all right. I think Ohio State could be one of those teams that get upset, but Big East has got some good teams like Creighton, like you said. Villanova's good. Houston, lost, but they're also good out of the American. So you're not seeing the SEC. I mean, Tennessee's up there. I'll say that. Virginia's up there. But you're not really seeing the top dogs of the SEC and the ACC up there, which is kind of different. Big Ten's up there. Big East is up there. Big 12's, got Baylor. but we will see. It's going to be so hard to predict. Selection Sunday is what? 5 weeks from yesterday?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 5 weeks from yesterday, I think. So it's crazy. It's going to be nuts. I'm excited to see a tournament. That's my favorite postseason. The NCAA tournament. Especially that first, 6 days there where it's the play-ins and then it's the first 2 rounds. So it's pretty cool. ACC. We're gonna see how many teams they get. It's gonna be another down year, I think. Last year they never really had a selection on night, so we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think Duke's getting in.
They look bad.
They do.
I think Coach K calls it quits on the year, and
I think he does too. I think he calls it right before the conference
my
tournament.
back.
Yeah, his back. I think he does. I think Duke pulls out right before the conference tournament.
Coach K. Coach Snake.
Yeah, he's a class act.
And
Always giving the other team props.
And then in the NBA, before we move on, whatever is old is new again, and it's crazy. We had news coming out today that apparently the Clippers have made Lou Will and Pat Beverly available in a trade, which is weird.
I did not hear that.
How about that? Your Knicks making a move, getting D Rose back, reunited with Tibbs.
Yeah.
Gave up pretty much a guy that they wanted to get rid of anyway. I mean, You hope Dennis Smith Jr. can kind of get back to his Dallas days now. Hope they're even a fraction of that. I mean, he was fun in the dunk contest.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And, the NBA has been a little bit more of what I'll call steadfast in this pandemic season. Kind of stuff you a little bit expected, maybe a little bit of the unexpected too, but the NBA is a bit more of a status quo kind of deal going right now. I think maybe the biggest surprise has been how bad Washington is, because people all thought they were going to be really good, or maybe Miami not being as good. At this point anyway. I mean, now that you have the Harden drama over with and everything like that. So, it's going to be interesting here because the NBA trade deadline obviously is pushed back a little bit this year than normal. Normally, the trade deadline for the NBA is in a week and a half pretty much. It's going to be interesting down the stretch because I think in the East you won't see too much shaking at this point. I think out of the East, whoever's good at this point is probably going to remain being good. And I'm not saying whoever's bad can't improve, but just the way it's kind of been this year, I don't see anything really changing the East. Let's just go be where it's interesting. You got the Nuggets who are good, but could certainly be better. They're kind of middling in the middle right now. The Jazz have been red hot, but they could certainly be better. That's not a team without faults by any means. I know you're happy about this one, Nick. The Mavericks, who we all thought were going to be pretty much the darlings of the West to a degree this year, are terrible right now. And I know you're very happy about that because there's a certain player laying in the weeds. I mean, the Lakers are being the Lakers. I came home from your house the other night, Nick, and I was watching the Lakers in that double overtime game against the Pistons. That Pistons seems oddly pretty good right now.
Don't win games.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the part that I don't think people realize still. Like LeBron is it's crazy right now with LeBron. They had him guarded up as good as you can, and he made 2 threes to ice the game for the Lakers in double overtime. I mean, it's really crazy, at least in my mind. Blazers are still there. Obviously, they're good. So it's going to be quite the interesting stretch run in the NBA, I think. But yeah, I know you're very happy about the Mavericks. Obviously, with KP struggling. Like I said, I think the Mavericks might be the biggest surprise in the NBA, just how bad they are.
Yeah, well, it's not just KP struggling that I'm happy about. It's that we have their first round
pick. That does help.
Draft pick as well. So, the Knicks are playing well. Even if they do slide back and the Mavericks do miss the playoffs, that could be 2 picks in the lottery, up for the lottery. So maybe this is finally our year. It would be something if we finally win the lottery. It's not even our official pick, but it'd be cool. Just
look at me, it's my pick now.
Yeah, the NBA's shortened season. You gotta say it's definitely like getting close to that point where it's just like in baseball they call it the dog days, and NBA right now it's like the dog days. It's getting,
and they have this ridiculous All-Star game coming up. That's a queer money grab.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that they're even thinking about playing that. But it's just at that point in the season where, for a Knicks fan, yeah, this is still huge to see the young players, develop every game, and to maybe be in the playoff race for a seed that will definitely not make a run in the playoffs. But it's definitely that time where it's just the season's just dragging on. But it's good to see them playing. They're going to get a decent amount of games in. I know they've been struggling, not as struggling as much as the NHL has with COVID, but
they got a mess.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. NFL had a mess. They figured it out. They played the Super Bowl yesterday, so they figured it out. Baseball had a mess, really, and they only lost 2 regular season games. So everyone's figuring it out. Obviously, professional sports have it better handled than college sports.
Yeah,
but it's nice to see the NBA playing. Obviously, the Lakers are the favorite. What do you want me to tell you? They're the favorite to win. I hate to say it. I don't care for the Lakers, so I'm not going to say it, but I did say it. They're obviously the favorites.
It's just crazy watching LeBron like right now with his age. It's not so much his age, but how long he's been in the league for, and he's still doing it like that.
Yep, he's good. He's definitely good. There's a reason why he's the best right now. Not the best of all time. The East is definitely going to be up for grabs until the playoffs come. You're never going to prove anything wrong until someone wins that Eastern Conference title. It's either going to be the Nets. It's either going to be the Bucks.
Yeah.
It's either going to be, maybe your Heat get back in the mix. They are the defending Eastern Conference champs. And then there's the Celtics, Sixers, if you want to really talk about them. But
in a weird way, the Hornets too with the Gordon Hayward renaissance.
They're playing well. The Hawks, I think, are just young. They're good, but they're young. The Knicks are young. The Pacers are always there. They just all rounded. They got new coaches here.
Yeah,
but they're a good team. They got players on that team. Sabonis is good. Sabonis is really good. Brogdon, that's one guy I wish the Bucks would still have. The Bucks probably still wish they had him. Brogdon, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
I think the Nets, because just of their star power, are the favorite to win the East. But they're going to have to learn how to play some defense because they definitely don't know how to play at all. But if I had to guess right now, it's Nets, Lakers, favorites in their conferences. Just by the star power.
I agree. Certainly agree. Though I think I go Bucks in the East, though.
Yeah. It's just Greek freak, though.
Not enough basketballs when it's going to matter in the mattering moments for the Nets.
It should be exciting.
So. All right, Nick, we get to move to the part of the show once a year where you pretty much check out. We'll come to you for your Daytona 500 prediction.
Yeah, let me know. I'll be here.
We're firing our engines for NASCAR.
Oh, good line. Good line.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good hat, too.
Thank you, yeah. When NASCAR, my boy Jeff Gordon, 4-time champ.
Jimmy's done, though.
Yeah, Jimmy's racing IndyCar this year, part-time schedule in IndyCar. So
ever done that?
Nope. No open wheels for Jimmy until this year.
I think he's losing it.
Yeah, tell that to him. But yeah, this might be the most. I don't know if it's the most important NASCAR season ever, but I mean it's up there. We were last year with the current model of a car, the Gen 6 car, before we move into the next gen car, Gen 7, which was supposed to debut this year but postponed it back because of COVID. New teams this year, obviously highlighted by 2311 Racing with my guy Bubba Wallace behind the wheel. But Nick, big ownership name, obviously, with that, with Michael Jordan co-owning it with Denny Hamlin, current Joe Gibbs driver. So new eyes on the sport there. Pitbull's a co-owner of a team.
What team he own?
He co-owns Trackhouse, which he co-owns with former NASCAR driver Justin Marks, being driven by Daniel Suarez, the only native of Mexico in NASCAR at the moment, in National Top 3 Series, rather.
Jordan owns Wallace?
2311. Yep. And there's a lot of interesting stuff on the rise, and this is going to be an interesting year. I don't know. People are hyping up this to be kind of like a year where there's going to be a lot of parity. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that on the surface. Like I said, you're still running the Gen 6 car. The part that's going to be interesting is how much do teams invest knowing that they can't run these cars next year. They will be obsolete once Phoenix 2, the championship race in November, happens. So who knows? I think it's an interesting point. If you get to the playoffs and you're not in the playoffs, do you just kind of mail it in the rest of the year? Once you get eliminated from the playoffs, if you're in the playoffs, you just mail it in for a year. And I think to a degree you probably do. Like I said, there's no sense in having to invest anything else research-wise really at this point. I'm sure you do kind of the first half of the year as long as you're in the playoffs and in contention. But, I mean, if you're maybe a back marker team, you're just more or less keeping the wheels going for next year when you get to the next-gen car and everything resets. Other key parts for this year, we're instead of the normal 3 road courses that we've been running in the Cup Series now for the last 3 years, 6 road courses. Watkins, Glen, Sonoma, and the Charlotte Roval stay with the additions of Road America, Circuit of the Americas, and the Daytona road course being added this year as a late add.
Is that new?
Well, yep, new. So it's going to be interesting there. They ran the Daytona road course last year to get races in. It worked out well. They're running the road course tomorrow for the Busch Clash, which is last year's pole. Well, normally it's the previous season pole winners, past Daytona winners, but it's a different combo this year. I think it's pretty much as long as you won like a stage last year, you're in.
I got a couple questions.
And oh, by the way, the Cup Series, before we get to your question, the Cup Series is running a race on dirt this year.
Really?
Bristol's becoming a dirt track for their first race in the spring. In addition,
the Cup's doing that?
The Cup's doing that. Trucks have 2 races on dirt this year. They've always had one since 2013. This year, they're running dirt at Bristol during the Cup weekend there. And then instead of going to Eldora, they're going to Knoxville, Iowa this year, home of the Knoxville Nationals, one of the biggest midget races in the country. Wing sprints with that. Nick, you have your question.
I got a couple questions.
You have the floor.
It's for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have the floor.
Okay. My first question is the Xfinity running on dirt?
They are not this year.
My next question, how are they handling fans?
Varies by location, obviously, kind of like every sport. Daytona will have, I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it's going to be somewhere in the 20-ish thousand the way it sounds, but that's combined with general public and VIPs that for sponsors that they're able to get in.
They doing a normal schedule this year?
They're doing about as normal as they can.
Going to November?
So, yeah. So, like I said, they're running the Daytona road course instead of having to go out to California right off the bat. Normally they go to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. It would have been actually technically the 3rd race of the year this year, but they flip-flopped it with Miami's weekend. Miami was going to be the 2nd race of the year, but that's going to the 3rd weekend, and they run the Daytona road course, which was normally Fontana's date, the weekend after this weekend, which is the 500.
And when is Watkins Glen?
Yeah, Watkins Glen, big question, a key question. I'm glad you're asking this question. 2nd weekend in August. Don't ask me the dates. I don't have them strictly off the top of my dome. So fingers crossed with that. I'd like to imagine because the Bills were able to have limited fans that probably by the time we get to Watkins Glen in August, we'll be able to for sure be there, but I'm not sure. Obviously, since the pandemic, I'm one of a very small number of population who's even been to a game live, so...
August 13th to 15th.
Thank you, Nick. I should be there, knock on wood.
You getting a camper for the whole weekend? What's the deal?
No, we're opting not to. Couldn't find anything on site with electric. Possibility we could do an Airbnb, though, but I don't know.
That'd be sick, though.
I don't know if it's worth it at that point when we could just save money and just drive back up here the 40 minutes or whatever, but we'll see. We'll play that one by ear. Any other questions?
Give me one sleeper this year.
So, the Cup Series, I'm assuming, obviously.
Yes.
I think it's going to be hard this year in Cup to pick a sleeper because, like I said, I think everybody's kind of thinking this year is going to be because you have obviously Bubba Wallace and what will be technically Joe Gibbs' equipment. They're getting their chassis and stuff from Joe Gibbs. In that sense, you're getting a lot of stuff like obviously people are picking Bubba to be, which I don't like. Look, I think this is going to be his best year. I'd like to say he gets a win, but I just don't see that possibly happening. It's always tough for a first-year team, no matter who it is, to just be good off the bat in a sense of contending for wins week in, week out. Like no mechanical failures, nothing like that. So I guess in that sense, a sleeper, dark horse, that style pick, I'm going to pick a guy who I've liked since he ran in the Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports. I'm going Tyler Reddick with RCR in the 8 car. RCR struggled really mightily the past decade since Harvick's kind of moved on. Chevy kind of evened the playing field a lot last year. Obviously with teams not really investing a lot, or manufacturers rather not really investing a lot into this year's car. I think that helps Chevy across all platforms. But I'm going to go Tyler Reddick in the 8. Guy who just understands racing. I mean, this guy's just a racer. Reminds me a lot of Jeff Gordon in a sense. Guy came from a dirt background from California. Wanted to get his start. Wanted to do dirt racing kind of initially, but didn't work out that way. He runs the car really good. Tends to do it really smart. And the key thing with him being a rookie last year, he rarely tore up equipment that was his fault. He got in his fair share of not fair share. He only got in a couple accidents that off the top of my head I remember, but only one I remember him being really something that it was probably his fault with. So I'm gonna go Tyler Reddick as the dark horse sleeper candidate.
And my final question is just so you were a Jeff Gordon fan.
Yep.
Now you're a Bubba Wallace fan.
Yep.
How many full seasons now been a fan?
Well, cup-wise, since he was a rookie in 2018. But I'll tell the story of how I kind of became a Bubba fan, and because I also like Ryan Blaney too. College. So, I get to college we'll just call it school year 2013 because it's 12 to 13. And 13 was Bubba's first full year nationally racing in the truck series. He was racing with Kyle Busch Motorsports in the 54. And I look at him like, damn, this dude graduated high school the same year as me. That's kind of cool. It's like, oh, we kind of have, similar interests, in a weird way. I'm not as into hardcore music as he is, but it's all right, we have similar musical tastes. He's a big college football fan, big Tennessee Vols fan, unfortunately, but I'm a Syracuse football fan, so I got my issues there too. So I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. A guy I can get behind. And so, obviously it's been really fun watching him climb up the ladder here, and I'm really hopeful for the rest of the year. And I'm kind of the same deal with Ryan Blaney too, in a way. He's obviously had a little bit more of a successful career. Guy has cup wins, got the cup quicker, been. Really, I think he's a championship contender this year, for sure. So, yeah, kind of the same way with him.
Well, have you seen Bubba up close yet?
No. I wish, but no.
No,
not in person. I came really close to his car one time when me and my dad had garage passes to Richmond a couple years ago, when you could go places.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember that. I remember you coming on the pod showing the pictures.
That was, that was a really fun.
Where was it, Richmond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you should definitely try to get some places all this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got my tickets for Richmond in the spring here. I haven't gotten a hotel yet because I just don't know if I want to kind of...
It's April, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty soon. Work-wise, that's going to cause an issue because I'll have to quarantine back and everything. So I don't know what I'm going to do quite yet with it. I mean, I got my tickets, obviously. So we'll see.
It's all right. You'll get there.
Eventually. I'll be back.
I get into every sport.
One of these years, we're going to have to really... I mean, we've been saying it, but I don't know if Watkins Glen this year is going to happen in terms of getting a huge group going down like I initially wanted to. And justifiably so. I mean, this year still... I mean, it's like what, I've been saying the past couple of weeks, just kind of at work and a couple of people. It's like, we really do have a light at the end of the tunnel now, in all fairness, but we just don't know how long that tunnel is.
Yeah. It's probably 2022.
Yeah, I'm still thinking we're probably a full year out from getting back to true.
2021's gonna be better than 2020.
Yeah. I think we're truly a full year out still from true normalcy, but we're still. I mean, we're plugging away, but I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. So
yeah.
Prediction wise for the year, Daytona 500. I think he gets redemption. I'm going Ryan Blaney.
And the poll's up.
Huh?
The list out. The poll.
Qualifying is Wednesday.
Okay. You're saying Ryan Blaney.
Yep, I'm going Ryan Blaney wins the 500.
Is Danica in it?
No.
I am going with. I think there's going to be some headlines. I'm going Bubba Wallace wins the.
Wow! All right.
I think there's going to be some.
I mean, I'd be happy. I'd be more happy with that for sure than Blaney. I'd probably be in tears if Bubba won. It's been a while.
Jordan getting the first win.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: it's been since 2015 since my actual favorite driver at the time, like my true favorite, has won a race, and it's been a while, and I need it.
Well, enjoy the season.
For sure. Championship, I'm going to pick Blaney as well. I think Blaney wins the championship.
Championship.
Yep.
Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, his partner.
Denny Hamlin finally breaks through, you're thinking.
Yep.
All right. I like that. I like
Michael
Denny
Jordan
as well.
here.
As I've accidentally clicked out of things.
You can't go wrong with the Bushes.
No.
Harvick.
As always,
Austin Dillon.
we thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Remember to check out FL1 Game Night on Facebook and Twitch. Jim Senacropi hosting it from the Mechanic Street studios of FingerLakes1.com. Nick, who are you shouting out this week?
Well, it was going to be Ali Marpat.
Yes.
Yeah, big shout out to Ali Marpat, Hobart grad. But I'm going to shout out a kid I saw today play basketball, Quentin Norris out of North Rose Wilcott. Scored his 1,000th career point.
Congrats. Big
I think that's the first time I've ever seen a 1,000 career point
about that
in person. So it's pretty cool. He scored off a free throw right before halftime. They took a moment and took a picture of the coach. Special moment.
Put it up on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Shout out Quentin Norris out of North Rose, Wilcott. Not sure where he's from, North Rose or Wilcott. From that area. So,
congrats to Quentin. Quite the accomplishment. Nick,
yeah.
We'll catch you next week. Obviously, we hope to be back Tuesday next week, as long as everything works out work-wise, schedule-wise for us.
Stay tuned.
And
here's the weird goodbye.
Yes, it will be an awkward landing goodbye. So please wear your mask. We'll stay safe. Enjoy the long weekend. Enjoy Daytona. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday on the Fresh Takes podcast with Russo and Felice.